Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, and I think it's February 10th. Good morning. Good morning. It's walk and talk time. How's everybody doing this morning?
Right.
Super. Morning.
Hey, good.
Awesome.
All right. Excellent. Well, we've got a lot to cover here, as always. And I'm just going to say, I'm just going to kind of go around the horn as always. And I know some of you like to speak, some of you don't like to. If anybody's viewing this for the first time or not familiar with this, let me just kind of give a brief explanation here. This is our once a week Saturday morning. We call it a walk and talk, and you'll see that some people are walking, some people are talking, but you don't have to feel obligated to do that. If you want to join our program and join into this once a week community get together, you can keep your camera off, you can keep your microphone off, whatever is comfortable for you. Also, we record this so that we can upload this into our Voices of HealthPointe YouTube channel. We realize this is an early Saturday morning, especially if you're in Central Time or Western Time. So I know we've got some of those folks in here. So hello to you early risers. But everybody else, this will be up on YouTube and you can watch it at another time. So the way we roll here is this is much about a community. We don't have any real big scripted program here. We just kind of go around the horn and listen to people and what they might have to say as it relates to the topic of HealthPointe. So we're talking, diabetes issues, weight loss issues, metabolic health issues. And so with that, I am going to start with Carol in sunny Florida there, and then I'm going to go to Bruce and or Eileen. I see you're in separate areas there, it looks like, so we will go to you because I know you gotta have some early starts, and then I'll see who's in the lineup after that. But Carol, over to you.
Well, good morning, everybody. And yes, it is beautiful, sunny Florida this morning. We're enjoying I know it's going to be another lovely day. And just wanted to say hi to everybody. And, it's interesting because I always know I'm going to share a couple of things. And so it kind of gets my mind back to ground zero on the HealthPointe program. And last night, Hank and I had the wonderful pleasure, it's always a wonderful pleasure, to have dinner with Susan Ross. And for those of you that are fairly new HealthPointers, you don't know the value of having dinner with Susan Ross. And her late husband passed a couple of years ago, but unbelievable couple that has influenced people around the world, to say the least. Not only people our age, but young people. So very, very influential and wonderful people. And then we also had the benefit to have dinner with John and Nancy Dornan, as many of you know. And again, if you're not part of in the close proximity of the Network 21 family, these are all well, Nancy was once quoted as the most influential person in the world. Well, she certainly is in the Network 21 arena. Well, anyway, so we had dinner. It happened to be Susan's birthday. And so after we got home, I started thinking about the power of influence and the power of people like these people that came into our lives and influenced us, and probably hundreds of thousands of people, I will say, comfortably around the world, and just how influential they are. But it goes back, it reminds me then to come back to HealthPointe and how the power of HealthPointe and how influential you can be just by the things that you're doing, the lifestyle that you're living, the things you're learning through the HealthPointe program, and how much you can help other people. And you just never know where that's going to lead to. But it does make me go back to the Network 21 and the HealthPointe audios that we have available to us. And Eric and I have kind of been spending some extra time reviewing a lot of the audios. And for those of you that are Network 21 members, pro members, you have 40 some HealthPointe audios that you can listen to, all the way from starting HealthPointe to building a HealthPointe coaching business. But even from the sharing standpoint, the beautiful ability to share some of the audios are so powerful. And I was going through this week, and some of them that popped into my mind, and I don't know whether I think, Eric, you might have suggested it to me. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The bottom line is there's a HealthPointe Q&A, and it was two Davids from, I think, Australia, David McPherson. I can't remember what the other one's last name was. But anyway, as I was listening to that, I thought, wow, this is such a relevant audio because it answers so many questions that I, as a coach, I know these answers, but then I forget, where did that come from? Because, you've listened to audios and you've been on the program for so long, you forget the resources. And this Q&A really brought out a lot of really powerful ideas, and in particular, two actually that really popped out at me. One of them was in the power of snacking, and snacking every 60 to 90 minutes between meals. And it was particularly relevant for me as I'm working with some folks. And it reminded me that snacking is so vital in this program to make it work. And so I think we forget about this sometimes. And then when we review an audio like that, it really brings back the importance of how snacking kicks your metabolism into action, which again then burns the foods that you're ingesting at such a higher rate. And so that was one of the points. And the other point was the power of habit forming. And of course, I'm back into Atomic Habits again, and I'm anxious to read that. But he talks, one of them talks about how important habits are. So that particular one I thought was really relevant. And I'm saying this to folks that are on the program, that when your coach sends audios to you, listen to them, because they're really vital for the whole HealthPointe program and why we do what we do. Because it's like Jim Dornan in his book, It's Simple But Not Obvious. HealthPointe is simple, but it's sometimes not obvious. And so when you're listening to these, you realize how, even though it's simple, it's very, very obvious in what makes the program work. And sometimes it's the subtleties that make the program work the best. And then I was listening, as Eric and I are putting together a playlist, or a what do we call it? Mental preparation. Is that what we're calling it?
Mental prep. Yep.
Mental prep. Yeah. And I think it's really, it was actually Eric's idea. And I think it's a great idea, is to just get people mentally focused into why they're doing what they're doing and the importance of doing what they're doing. But a couple of them that stood out for me, I'm on a bandwagon for moms and teaching your children health and what have you. And so there was one, it's a panel, it's a young mom's panel on HealthPointe. And I thought, whoa, every young mom, whether they're on HealthPointe or not, needs to listen to that and be on the Eating HealthPointe program, and teaching their children and the value that these women put into their children's lives by creating these healthy habits with them. And these were children all the way from 6 months old all the way up to teens. And so there was a broad range. And then there was another one, HealthPointe as a couple. It was a panel on the importance of a couple. And I thought, wow, if you have a husband or a significant other and you're on the program, it's so important for them to be on the program along with you. Whether or not they need to lose weight is immaterial, but it's the eating habits and the healthy habits that it teaches you, and the supplementation that it teaches you. And I would say to many people that if they are looking at the program, if their spouse is not on them, they might find that the spouse would sabotage them. And this makes it a lot more difficult to lose weight. And so I think that HealthPointe as a couple really brings out the value of working as a team together. And then there is another one, and I'm trying to remember. I'm going to see, hopefully I don't lose you guys. Oh, just a minute here, because it was really good. This gal, she says she was part of the fast food industry. And just a minute, I just took a
I
picture
think you're
of
talking
this.
about Reprogramming Your Health by Elaine.
Yeah. Yeah. By who?
I think it was not Elaine Smith, but another
Louise, yeah,
Elaine,
Louise,
yeah, Louise.
yeah, Louise.
Yeah.
I think it's Louise Smith. I think they have the, yeah, yeah. I think they have the last name the same. Anyway, this gal came from the fast food industry, and she said all the things that you are trying to break your habits from are things that I perpetrated because I was in this fast food industry. And all you have to listen, if you are a fast food junkie, all you have to listen to is that audio. And she talks about the rats, and were one of the rats and roaches were some of the biggest challenges they had in their facility. Thinking, this is stuff we're eating, you know. So anyway, those just happened to be three that just really jumped out at me. But the bottom line is that listening, getting into an audio listening habit along with an eating habit and a supplementation and drinking water and steps, all those habits, those are life changing habits that you're forming that will improve the quality of your life in all areas of your life, your relationships, your business, if you're a business owner, if you're a traditional business owner, all of them are helped with the HealthPointe program. So a HealthPointe program is not a diet, as we say, it's a healthy living program. And I think we need to go back to those audios, especially those of us that are coaches and have lost weight over the years. I think we need to go back and refresh our memory on some of these audios and why they are so vital. And you just might, as you're listening to them, think of people that you could reach out to that could either be a referral for you or perhaps benefit from the program itself, because it just covers everything. And I'm just constantly, every day reminded, every time I put on something or read a health article. I was reading one this morning on glutathione and the importance of that powerful antioxidant and where you get it from. And I thought, that antioxidant, you get all the ones that perpetrate that antioxidant, you get them all from Double X. And I'm thinking, you go on the HealthPointe program, you get in the habit of being on Double X the rest of your life. And man, oh man, Double X and omegas, if you just did those two things, supplement for the rest of your life, you could add so many quality years to your life and eliminate so many problems that you might be experiencing. So that's my mouthful for this morning. And I just, I don't know what happened. Something triggers at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays.
No,
Anyway,
well, we are all the beneficiaries of whatever's triggering that, Carol. We thank you for that. That is some powerful stuff. I was, as always, jotting notes here, and I think it's I've got my tablet filled up, which is a good thing. I love that. So gosh, so many things that we could talk about here, and I'll click through just a couple of things that resonated with me. And then I saw Eileen, I think if you're still on, and Bruce, I see you walking, and Eileen, I saw a beautiful background picture, and so if you're still available, we'll scoot over to YouTube next, as I mentioned, and then excuse me, kind of queuing up David and Chris out walking, and then Kathy, and then Hank. So that's I'll have to write those down, remember. So, but yeah, just a couple of fun things there, just to the point of the audios. And as Carol said, the what's termed mental prep, and although Carol is saying that maybe it was something that I was coming up with, I'll deflect that over to Emily. Emily is routinely saying, Emily, my wife, that anybody that's on the program here that doesn't know who Emily is, Emily's my lovely wife, but she is so often talking about how it's so important for HealthPointe and anything you're endeavoring about the mindset. And actually, I would say there's two influences on that, kind of the amping up of the importance of the audios. It would be Emily, and then also the wonderful Australians. A number of us were so fortunate to be able to gather closely with them when we were out in California. In fact, Carol and I and Emily, and I think Erica's on here, and of course Hank, we were able to kind of get a sidebar conversation, kind of one of those impromptu things. We were near a Starbucks in the hotel, and we got to speak with Nicole Baines, and oh, I could go through the whole list. But the point is that, these are people that are like literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of people in Australia that are actively engaged in the HealthPointe program. And one of the big things that they emphasize is that mental prep, that ongoing audio listening, because, we're all a function of what's going on in our head. And in fact, Emily and I were talking about this just yesterday, talking about a Jim Dornan audio where he's just talking about once it goes into your head, it's in there. There's no getting it out. So what do? You dilute it, and you can put more audios in, more books in, more good association like we're doing here this morning, and kind of dilute that. So anyhow, so many fun things that I could talk about, but in the interest of time, I'm going to pass the puck here. Thank you again, Carol. And hopefully there's something that somebody says here that triggers you again, because we all benefit from your what you have to chat about there. So going over to Eileen, I don't know if you're still here. Bruce, I see you. So Bruce, we're going to go to you. Also in sunny Florida. Good morning, Bruce. How are you?
Hey, doing pretty good. And Eileen's driving. She's taking her sister to the airport this morning. So I don't know how safe it is for her to be on, but I know she hit the 60 mark just recently.
Yeah. So that's
Woohoo,
60 pounds,
Eileen!
60 pounds down.
Woo!
And you guys started roughly end of August. Is that about right?
She started in August and I started in September.
Nice.
And I'm down just under the 40 mark. Just
Yeah.
over the 40 mark, I should say.
Way to go,
And,
Bruce.
So
Yeah,
how
thanks.
are you
Awesome.
guys?
So my belt that I was talking about, I got a problem. I'm down to the last loop. So
Hey, these are good problems to have, Bruce, right?
yeah,
Good problems.
yeah, they are. So I have some new ones, and anyways, yeah, working on that. Just really enjoying the program. Carol, we did listen to David, those Australians and so on. Again, just good, simple information that we can use, and I was happy to know that we're actually implementing some of them already. So, anyways, that's all I have. Pretty short and sweet.
That's phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal, Bruce. And gosh,
Can I just, I'm going to interject real quick. Bruce, if it's not too private, and you don't have to get into detail, but I believe you had success with a medication that you were on, or you're still on, but your ability to cut that. If you want to share that with the folks.
Well, I've been using omeprazole since I was in my 20s, and which is way longer than anybody should be on it. But so I was up to this point of 20 milligrams twice a day. So recently I called my doctor and said that I'm down to the 160s. I want to downsize. I want to, maybe go to one a day. And he said, oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. So I'm able to just take one, and I'm also have a Barrett's esophagus, which is a precancerous lesions in my throat. So, I'm hoping that through this eating plan, that's the program that we're on, we'll be able to maybe, I don't know about reverse it, but maybe really slow that down and possibly reverse it. I'm also trying some aloe in the water. So hoping that that will fix things as well.
Wow, that's great. Carol, thanks for, kind of asking Bruce to share on that. And you are muted. There you go.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to keep noise out because I don't want to interrupt people. But, I think that I like people to report those types of things when they can reduce something that they've been on since they were 20 years old. And just by the power of eating, supplementation, and healthy habits, which Bruce and Eileen have been stellar on doing. They just, like I said before, they had questions, but they didn't question the program. And as a result, the program went very well because they didn't question every inch of the way. But the benefits of being able to do that and to lower those drugs, I think is really vital. I mean, if we could get everybody in America to half their drugs, oh my gosh, would that be amazing? So I like people to report on stuff like that.
There would be a lot less getting flushed into our water supply, that's for sure, right?
Yeah.
Because
Amen.
wasn't it the city of Chicago that I remember seeing some report, and again with our eSpring water treatment system, you're not just taking out cigarette butts and bugs. You're getting right down to taking out pharmaceuticals that are being flushed into our water supply with the volume of pharmaceuticals that Americans are taking. So I agree, Carol, if we can get through HealthPointe kind of a 50% cut or reduction in the pharmaceuticals, I think the environment would be, benefit from that as well. So, well, thank you so much for that. And just a quick note, Bruce, you mentioned about your esophagus and stuff like that. I might have mentioned in a recent program here. In fact, I think I did that. I met Dr. Nasha Winters down at the Metabolic Health Summit, and I can certainly scoot some material over to Carol or post it in the show notes. I'd highly recommend a book by Dr. Nasha Winters called Metabolic Approach to Cancer. And she's a brilliant physician. She had her own cancer journey. She was stage 4 cervical cancer, I believe it was. No, I'm sorry, ovarian cancer. And that was, she was given something along the lines of, I think, 5 months to live. And that was 32 years ago. So she was on an MD track. She kind of changed her trajectory on her career and went into more of a integrative medicine, functional medicine type of approach. And she is active in educating teams and teams of clinicians to follow a whole food nutrition protocol. And anyhow, her book, her resources, there's stuff on YouTube. She's got a new podcast out, brand new podcast out. But again, her name is Dr. Nasha. That's N as in Nancy, A-S-H, Winters, for anybody that wants to check that out. And so thank you again. We are going to continue around the horn to David, and I see Chris as well. I don't know if you're muted or not. I think you're unmuted here, but welcome and good morning, David.
Morning, team. It is a sunny morning here in Michigan. Woo!
Woohoo!
So Carol talked about influencers, and last week I meant to share this, and we had a bumpy start, if I remember, coming back from the weekend, and my mind must have forgot to do this, and so it's important to talk about influencers. And so I just wanted to acknowledge Eric and Emily for being on stage as Bronze Foundation, and for leading the way for all of us as we see you continuing to take steps, and the steps momentum is kind of going your way, and so anyway, it's just grateful. Congratulations, good to see you up there. I've talked with you, so I know what some of your goals are. I see you talking to the Australians and getting that dream in your head, and so thank you for leading the way and for influencing all of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David.
And then secondly, Carol had asked me
I'm going to amen. I'm going to amen that. I continue to unmute and mute here, but I'm going to amen that, David. I think there is nothing like the exampling. And Eric is a perfect example of that. Eric and Emily, as they walk across the stage, as any of you walk across the stage, do you know it's not just about you, but you make it believable for somebody else. And that is so powerful. So I hope each and every one of you, as you work towards whatever your goals are, whether they're health goals, weight loss goals, business goals, that you are influencing and affecting other people. And that is so powerful. So back to you, David. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's absolutely fine. And another influencer would be Hank Zampa. Am I on?
You are,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Another influencer would be Hank Zampa. And so Hank shared with me a while back about his morning routine and a protein drink that he has. And so Chris's blood pressure was always at home, like in the high 130s, low 140s. And one of her challenges when she would go to the doctor, her anxieties would kick in and her blood pressure would often go up to like 160s. And so I have battled with her doctor over not taking blood pressure medication. Well, as Hank also says, the things that cause our body to go poorly is done over time. And it takes a change of habits over time to reverse some of that. And so it's probably been 6 months now that I make breakfast for Chris and I make an oatmeal mix with some chia seeds and flaxseed, but I also put in a scoop of, for the past 6 months, of the red organics, can't remember the name of it, and the green organics, and a scoop of the protein. And so I make this mixture, and then we split it. So she gets half a scoop of everything. And so 6 months later, we go back to her doctors. And so another key important point for people who get anxious going to doctors is I would work with Chris before I would take her blood pressure at home on her breathing. Slow your body down. Breathe in through your nose, 2 beats, and out through your mouth, 4 beats. And so we're at the doctor's office. I immediately get her into her breathing routine in the waiting room. We go into the room. I continue to talk to her about breathe through your nose, out through your mouth. And in the little breakfast that I make, I also put a cup of berries in it, because that's another important piece of Hank's plan. And blueberries, strawberries, and sometimes blackberries, raspberries, other things. And this time when she had her blood pressure taken at the doctor's office, it was 110/70. And so
Nice.
it was a major celebration with the doctor. And then lastly, I can't remember if I shared this or not, but they wanted to put her on, she has osteoporosis. So the doctor wanted to put her on a bone medication of something. And so the next time I saw her, I shared with her Bone Health by Nutrilite, that instead of taking medication, we're going to try this for 6 months to a year, and we'll get, do testing again and see what happens. Well, it was interesting because she goes, oh yes, Nutrilite. My mother takes Nutrilite. She's an doctor's son. She's a young Asian lady. So anyways, interesting side story, but thank you for the influencers of Eric and Emily for your example, for leading the way. Thank you, Hank, for being the master alchemist and helping at least my family to get healthy and others as well. Thank you to the influencers. David Dasso and Chris Dasso signing off.
David, you are amazing. You're so fun. You're so fun to listen to hang with, I just, one of the wonderful things that Emily and I enjoy is that, being that David and others, Kathy, who I'll queue up Kathy next, being in Michigan, if we are all going somewhere through Network 21, as we recently did to the conference, just the fun of hanging with you guys in the airport. It's a lot of fun. So anyhow, great stuff. Thank you. Thank you, David and Chris. Really appreciate you guys very much. And thank you for the kudos on Emily and I. And I just want to say, I'm just so grateful that, we've got this program. This is, thank you to Network 21. Thank you for the brilliance of them to connect us up with this HealthPointe system when they, purchase a licensing agreement. It's amazing. And we have a lot of fun. In fact, I see someone on here, I won't call her out because it's her first time, but we helped some more people get started on HealthPointe last night. And we do have some background noise on somebody. So if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. If you're not speaking, please mute yourself. But anyhow, we just had a ball. This is fun. We helped friends, just a fun couple that Emily and I, enjoy time with. And we're just really grateful that we can connect with, good people, have a great time, laugh a lot, have a lot of fun. We all mutually educate, and at the same time, we're all getting, healthier and healthier and helping to influence others. So thank you, David, but I'll just pass the appreciation on to the brilliance of the Network 21 system. So Kathy, where I'm going to call you Step Queen. You're getting your steps in here this morning. Anybody that doesn't know Kathy, I'll just say, if anybody ever says, oh, I have such a difficulty getting my steps in, all I got to do is connect them to a little clip about Kathy Munoz. So where are we at on February 10th here? What day, what year, what day of continuous 10,000 steps, Kathy?
1 year, 316 today. Yeah. We're getting to that 2-year mark finally. So
that's awesome.
Yes,
so it's always been easy, right? It's just every one of those
of
nearly 2 years of consecutive days of getting over 10,000 steps in on your pedometer. It's just always been easy and convenient, and you just roll out of bed and it just happens easily, right?
Definitely. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So since I know you said we do have some new people, I'll do just a couple little quick tips. So 5 years ago, I went on HealthPointe and lost 58 pounds and have kept it off the entire time. My husband went on and lost 85 pounds. So the program definitely works. So we were kind of like a Bruce and Eileen in a way. But I don't think we were as good as Bruce and Eileen. They are rocking it for sure. But what I do want to say is, yes, getting to the goal of 10,000 steps. If you're new, don't go, oh my God, how am I going to do 10,000 steps today? You probably won't. I'll be honest with you. Most of the time when I was in the program, I ranged between probably 6,500 and 8,500 a day. I didn't really go under 7,500, I don't think. And I lost the weight. Okay. But then, over almost 2 years ago, David, who just spoke with us, had shared, he saw a video about the benefit of 10,000 steps and he thought it was kind of cool. And I watched it and it changed my life. I was like, wow, just doing this can add years to your life just by walking 10,000 steps a day. Okay, that shouldn't be that hard. So I kind of set out on a journey to do it. So it is not easy. It is definitely, even though I've been doing it for almost 2 years, it is a habit for sure, but it's a conscious habit. And I have to be aware of it because sometimes you'll go in the grocery store and walk out and go, that was only 1,200 steps. I walked the entire Kroger and it was only 1,200 steps. That's disappointing. When you think, oh my God, I must have done 5,000. But there's several things you can do living life that you can get your steps in. So I do work a full-time job. So my lunch hour is when I usually try to hammer out between 2,500 to 5,000, depending on what time I get to start walking. Usually always get at least 2,500 in. I'm not a morning person, so I have to get up early for work as it is. So I do not do any in the morning. I can't do that. I'm bad, just can't do that. Even though that's the best way to really kick off your metabolism. But luckily, I do a majority right after I've eaten lunch. So that does kind of kick up the metabolism. And then, you know, at work, just being cognizant, getting up and going to the printer, getting up and walking all the way around my desk instead of just a couple steps one way or the other. At home, if you have to cook, if you're cooking dinner, instead of taking all 15 items out of the fridge at one time and carrying them all over to the counter, take them one at a time. That's like 4 steps every item. It adds up. My biggest one, everybody hates folding clothes. Walk around the house folding your clothes. You can walk and fold a towel, walk it all the way down the hallway, come back up, put it on the table, pick up the next one. You got to get it done anyway, but at least you're getting your steps in the same time. So those are just some of my little tips. And yes, it hasn't been easy. I have actually been in the ER in the middle of the night, and I've gotten up in the little pod and just walked the pod over and over. And doctors and nurses came in, "Are you okay?" Like, yeah, I'm getting my steps in. I do 10,000 a day. Oh, okay. You know, but you do what you have to do. And this is a goal that I want to achieve for myself. So I've set out and I'm going to do it. But there are you just have to stop and think, okay, if I'm really low in steps, what can I do to get them? And sometimes it's just as simple as just getting up and just walking back and forth in your house. So that's kind of what I have for today.
Like you're doing right now. That's another
exactly.
When you're on
yeah, I don't like to walk
walking.
outside, so I'm in the house all the time. You'll always see me in the house. So
yeah,
I'm just a creature of habit in that respect.
No, I think one of us at one of these times need to put together a list of what you just ran through of your practical tips and tricks on how to get those steps in, because it's really all there. And really, I think the overarching point that you're making very, very clear is that if somebody just makes a decision that they're going to do that, that's what you've done. You've made a decision that you're going to do that. Then you get to work, your brain gets to work on how do you do that? Do I need to be sitting down while I'm folding clothes? No, as a matter of fact, I can be standing up. Can I take after a lunch break at work, as you say, you wrap up your lunch a little bit quicker, and then that gives you time to be able to go walk around your place of work in the office. And the beautiful thing about that as well is, of course, you're influencing people. You've mentioned many times about people that are like, "Hey, Kathy, I see you're getting your steps in." And you know what? That's a great positive influence. That's a great example. So thank you again for that. And somebody that's better at being a scribe than I am will get that list put together, and we'll add it as a resource for the rest of the HealthPointe community. But thank you for sharing it on here. We are going to go around the horn here. I'd love to get Hank in if Hank's available. And then I saw Billy. I think Billy is on here, and we haven't heard from you in a while. We'd love to hear how things are going in Texas. And then I'll chime in on a couple of things that I sent out in an email regarding 3 types of fat. And then Erica, I see you on here, and I think you weren't able to be on here after also being out in California. So if you care to share, so that's a lot of us here in the remaining time. So we're going to hustle right along, and we'll start first with Hank. If you're interested and available, I'll watch for you to unmute here. And there you go. I see an unmute. Good morning, Hank.
Good morning to everybody. It's great to listen to everybody, and just all the results. I mean, it just makes my heart feel good, and I appreciate that, because that's what it's about. More people we're going to help in this world. It's very, very gratifying. Just to touch on that dinner last night that Carol brought out. So I want to let you know, we've been on this health program for many years. I mean, long term. But here we were in this Italian restaurant. And some of you know I'm from the Mediterranean originally. I was raised on pasta and bread, okay? And you look at that menu of this Italian restaurant, which is highly rated. I said, all right, I haven't had pasta and bread in a long time. I'm going to just indulge a little bit. And I did. It doesn't mean you can never do that again, all right? It was good, but then I could feel the feeling in my gut later on when we were driving home, as good as it was. So I went right to my probiotic and prebiotics. I mean, I put a mixture of that real quick together, which I do every morning, okay, from our Nutrilite line. And but I did it last night right after I get home, after I took a couple of digestive enzymes. That's the first thing I did when I got home. 2 digestive enzymes, because I remember Dr. Vicky says, make it a habit, Hank. Take 1 before you eat and 1 after you eat if it's a normal meal. But if it's a heavy meal, take 2 after you eat. And I'll tell you what, that's been a godsend, because sometimes I indulge, and that digestive enzyme helps like crazy. But anyway, that was what I did when I got home last night. And I slept like a baby. It was really great. So just wanted to share that with you. When you go off track once in a while, get back on track, do the right things. You got all kinds of good stuff in our line. Those prebiotics and probiotics are tops in my book. I do that every morning, and the digestive enzymes. I just want to touch on those. All right, guys. Great day. Have a good day. Enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Hank. And the digestive enzymes, quick hit on that too, and a big shout out, thank you to Marnie Fondren, who was on here last week. I never knew that it's generally the arc of most people is when they get into their 40s, they start losing some of those digestive enzymes. I never knew that. I never knew the science of that. One time I was just chatting with her where I was just experiencing, it wasn't even a heavy meal. It was pretty much, it seemed like it was just like every meal. It was like a breakfast or a lunch or a dinner or anything where I was just like bloated afterwards. And, it's not something that like, it's not something that like switch is flipped and it's suddenly different. It's something that gradually increases as your digestive enzymes start to maybe diminish. Anyhow, Marnie in her wisdom said, gosh, have you ever tried the digestive enzymes? And I said, no, as a matter of fact, and she educated me on that a little bit. And I said, okay, that sounds great. So I tried it and I got back and I said, Marnie, thanks, but it really didn't seem to work for me. And she said, well, that wasn't just the other day we were talking, how long you've been taking it? I was like, about a week. She says, no, take it for a month, before you because I was looking for kind of like a long-term, maintenance type of a thing. Long story short, that was quite a while ago. And I'm never have that condition again, virtually never. And so thank you, Hank, for bringing that up. That's a very powerful and just a very pragmatic product. A lot of the supplements, they're doing so much work that we don't necessarily feel, but I will tell you, digestive enzymes, whether it's a pasta and a delicious pasta dinner that you guys enjoyed, Hank, or whether it's just the day-to-day, if you want to reduce that bloating and so forth after you eat a meal, you may want to try the digestive enzyme product. So thank you for that. Thank you as always. And since you share it on here, you're my hero. Everybody wants to be like, all the guys want to be like, Hank, you're 90 years old and you're just rocking it. Last week, you were picking up an 83-year-old that tried to sit up and couldn't get up, and you're reaching down and grabbing onto him and picking him up. So I love it, Hank. And David, you had something to say?
I was just going to say, you're another example of Hank's lessons that what takes our body years to do in damage, maybe not the best word, but deteriorate, that it takes, some months of changing those habits for it to fully recover. And so Hank reminds me of that all the time, because as a sanguine, I prefer to have instant results.
Right. Love it. So, well, we get so much from Hank constantly. Thank you again, Hank. Thank you, David. And going around, like I said, I think I saw Billy. Yes, Billy, and you are unmuted. And if you want the camera on, you're welcome to join in here. Billy, are you there? You are, Billy. Good morning. How's Billy?
Billy doing fine. Good morning, everybody. Glad to be back on the call. I really enjoy myself, and I learned a whole lot from listening to everybody on the call. But anyway, I missed last week. I had something else I had to do earlier that morning. But I was thinking about everybody telling their story and all the things that had happened to them and how they saw their problem. I had one issue, and I guess it to me was a big issue, that my cholesterol got up out of whack, and so I had to get that back in control. But it wasn't that difficult, but it was difficult because I didn't know that I had an issue because I didn't feel anything. But with the help of everything that been said, and I had to change some diet, I had to change especially the way I was eating. So like I hear Hank say, he came from one place, I came from another place, and I noticed that where I came from, we love fried food, and fried food wasn't good for me. My cholesterol got up, and I got up so high that doctor told me that 3 things can happen. I said, wow. And there are 3 things that I can have a heart attack, I can have a stroke, even I can die. So she said she had to put me on some medication. I just said, well, I'm going to work on billing. Let me work on billing. So anyway, I run that cholesterol down. I got off all that fried food. That's all I got to say for today.
I love it. I love it, Billy. And yeah, we all have our our upbringings, where it could be a regional, a geographic thing. Hank, you're from the island of Malta. Billy, I think you had mentioned once before, well, you're in the South now, you're in the Texas, but you were before from Louisiana or someplace that loved fried foods. Okay, you loved your fried food. So yeah, it takes a change, and sometimes that's it's a cultural thing. So that can be some of the more difficult things to change and so forth. But you've done it, Billy.
Yeah.
We're all benefiting from your continued good health, and those critters on your ranch are benefiting too, because for those that don't know Billy, he's got a ranch in Texas, and he's up early, and I don't know, one time you were like playing mama. You were the mama to a little baby calf that the mama had abandoned or something. So there's Billy out there doing his thing, and you need good health for that. You enjoy doing it.
Yes.
That's why we want to be healthy, is to be able to do the things we enjoy in life, and you're doing that and helping out that little baby calf. So thanks for sharing there, Billy. I guess I'm going to go next, and then we'll queue up Erica if you're interested. I mentioned, and I know not everybody gets the email. I do try to send out an email that has an announcement of our Saturday walk and talk, and have the link. Feel free to forward that on to friends, family, etc. The more the merrier. And then I also try to get an email out that has the link to our most recent recording on like this recording here. So in this latest email, I was mentioning that Emily and I had, we're constantly listening to audios, both in Network 21 and then also through other doctors and clinicians and so forth that we follow. And you heard me mention, I think, a number of times about Dr. Robert Lustig, and he had an interview with Dr. Andrew Huberman. And if you know Dr. Andrew Huberman, he's got a podcast, and there are long form podcasts, and then there are long form podcasts. I'm talking, these are not your little Snapchat little things. These are hour, 2 hour, they go deep on a topic. Well, he was interviewing Dr. Robert Lustig, who is arguably, the most notable endocrinologist in the United States. And I will just summarize something that I thought was particularly interesting and relevant to those of us in the HealthPointe community, because we talk about, in HealthPointe, we talk about, there's certainly a focus on diabetes, on type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, insulin resistance, that's correlated with obesity or weight loss, right? And so what he was pointing out here is that there's not just fat in general, there's actually 3 types of fat. And if you're not familiar with this might be pretty interesting to you, because well, what I'll do in the interest of time and brevity is I'm going to actually read a little condensed version of what he had to say here. So bear with me because I'm just going to read this. Okay. Number one, subcutaneous fat. So that's the first category, or that's one of the three categories of fat. Subcutaneous fat. His words, not mine. Often humorously referred to as quote unquote, does this bathing suit make me look fat, or quote unquote, big butt fat? This is Dr. Robert Lustig talking about. So he says, often humorously referred to as, does this bathing suit make me look fat, or big butt fat? Subcutaneous fat is located under the skin. It's the type of fat most people are familiar with. And this is kind of like a summary. So the context here, it says the discussion highlights that one can gain up to 10 kilograms, which is about 22 pounds of subcutaneous fat before it leads to metabolic illness. Okay, we talk about metabolic health, right? So about 22 pounds of subcutaneous fat before it leads to metabolic illness. This threshold exists because subcutaneous fat releases cytokines, which are pro-inflammatory, but due to its drainage into the systemic circulation, a significant volume is required to affect cytokine levels in the blood adversely. Okay, so that's subcutaneous fat. Next is visceral fat. Visceral fat, also known as quote unquote, big belly fat. Visceral fat is stored within the abdominal cavity and is packed around the internal organs. It's more dangerous metabolically compared to subcutaneous fat, with just 5 pounds, which is approximately 2¼ kilograms of gain sufficient to cause metabolic illness. Visceral fat drains into the portal vein, leading directly to the liver, thereby delivering a concentrated dose of cytokines to it. This fat type is strongly associated with stress and cortisol levels, explaining why it can increase even when subcutaneous fat is lost, such as in the case of severe depression. Okay, so that's visceral fat. So we had subcutaneous fat, visceral fat, and now we're going to talk about liver fat. And liver fat, the fat stored in the liver, is deemed the most metabolically dangerous. Just about 1/4 kilo, or about 1/2 pound of fat stored in the liver can lead to metabolic illness. This is because the liver plays a crucial role in metabolic processes, and its dysfunction can have widespread effect. The accumulation of fat in the liver can result from excessive alcohol consumption or high sugar intake, both of which are metabolically harmful. Now, I thought maybe the reason this was kind of a bit queued up for me is because I think it was last week, Eileen mentioned that she had a recent revisit of blood work and other health markers at her doctor's, and she shared with us that her lots of numbers were corrected, but one of the most notable ones was her trajectory on fatty liver. And so that is such great news, and such an important thing to address. Obviously, HealthPointe is a answer to that, to have move all of this in a positive direction. That's the thing. You don't have to choose one of the three. Do the HealthPointe program. Hey, are you going to affect the subcutaneous fat, kind of that really visual fat? Yep, absolutely. We've got tons of people in here that are great illustrations of that. Are you going to have an effect on the visceral fat, that vital fat that's packed around your organs? Yep. Not only through the HealthPointe program in terms of the macronutrients and the micronutrients, but we're also very focused on the movement and the stress management and the hydration and so forth, so that and the good sleep, working on the good sleep, some techniques to be able to slow down the busy mind and make your sleep better. And then certainly the liver fat, and even with when somebody just starts on the HealthPointe program, we have the 3 jumpstart days, right? That is a very concentrated, focused 1 to 3 days where it's really, clearing out that short-term storage, that glycogen. So I thought that was interesting for those that weren't familiar with the fact that when we talk about fat, there's not just one category of fat, there's actually three. So there's my segment, and moving on, if you care to, Erica, I'll watch for you to be unmuted and on or off camera. There as an unmute. Good morning, Erica. How's Erica?
Hey, good morning, guys. I am off camera today because I slept in and I got crazy morning hair and just waking up eyes. So I'm off camera today, but thank you so much for that, Eric. That was a good reminder. I'm always thinking about and talking to clients about subcutaneous fat and visceral fat and the difference. But it was a good reminder about the liver fat and, the effects of just not only alcohol, but also sugar or carbohydrates. So thank you for that. That was wonderful. And I can't wait to revisit your everyone's last week's walk and talk. I missed it because I had my son last weekend, and I know you probably were full of information from that metabolic health summit you guys were at. So I cannot wait to hear that. But I wanted to just congratulate my friend Stephanie, who is on here today. I know she's listening. She's on her second 6-week cycle, and she has passed the 20-pound weight loss goal. And
way to go!
Yay!
Stephanie.
Awesome
Welcome,
job, Stephanie.
Congratulations.
Woohoo! We're really looking forward. She's got a doctor's appointment coming up in March, and she wants to see some improvements in her blood work. So really excited for her for that. Stephanie, I don't know if you want to unmute and pop on and maybe just say what you've enjoyed about the HealthPointe program so far. And if not, that's okay too. We'll just, like Eric says, wait a minute and see if you unmute.
I'll
and if you
keep
just
an
want to
eye on
be,
it here.
yeah, if you just want to be a fly on the wall too, that's fine. So I'll keep going. We talk about books quite a bit, and I wanted to mention a book that I actually just started, and it's called You're a Badass Making Money by Jen Sincero. And I know it's, the title really kind of focuses on money. However, the mindset is so prevalent in the book. You could really, take out the word money and put in any variable, like whatever it is. You're a badass, being healthier. You're a badass, in relationships. And it's all about, how our beliefs and our subconscious affect our behaviors. And it's just I'm only maybe 3-4 chapters in. I'm listening to the audio version. And really, really good book. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it. But
Who is the author again, Erica?
Jen Sincero. I think it's with an S.
Okay.
You're a Badass Making Money. She's got a few other books. I think there's one just You're a Badass at Life or something like that. I just happened to pick up the one on money. And it's really just kind of changing your mindset and maybe some underlying beliefs that you don't know that are there that could be sabotaging you from taking the actions that you want to be taking. So although it's, like I said, this one happens to be focused on money, you could really take that variable out and apply it to any other goals or behaviors that you might be doing. So anyways, that's my little 2 cents for the day. I know we're coming up at 9 o'clock. It was good to see everyone and hear everyone. And I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Hey, thank you so much, Erica. So glad that you could be on. And I know that your schedule has been full with the whole Les Mills. What's that called? Pump and body pump. Is that right? Body pump? And you're muted now, but anyhow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought I unmuted. Yeah, it's called Body Pump. It's a whole line of different group exercise formats. So there's body combat, body flow, body attack, grit. They have, so many different formats we're trying to bring And so since our California trip out to visit the Nutrilite headquarters, which was fantastic, I had a red eye back. And when I landed at 6 a.m., my son's school was closed that whole day on Tuesday. So I got back, I had like maybe 1 hour to nap, and then I had him all day. And then working 10, 12 hours. We had the event on Saturday. I mean, it was ever since I landed back in Michigan, I've just been rolling. And today was my first day to really kind of sleep in, catch up on sleep, and join you guys. So it was great to be back with the team.
That's so great. And look at you. I mean, just continuing to influence. We've got Stephanie on here again. Congratulations, Stephanie, on getting past that.
This
Hey,
is
there's Stephanie.
find the unmute button when Erica was asking me to speak, but I'll just say real quick, thank you, thank you. This program has worked wonderfully for me. I'm so inspired, and Erica is a stellar coach. So thank you.
Oh, that's so great. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you found the mute unmute button, Stephanie. That we couldn't put a better wrap on our 1 hour walk and talk than to just hear that from you. We all agree you've got a phenomenal coach in Erica. And so just so great for you to be able to find that unmute button and come on here. So guys, this is, as it always happens, we have no idea how this is going to play out in this little hour get together that we do on Saturday morning, but it's always just lifts me up for sure and just energizes my start to a Saturday, no doubt. So thank you everyone for all your contributions. We will get this uploaded onto our Voices of HealthPointe YouTube channel ASAP. And you can always obviously just go to YouTube and just search, there's a playlist, and under playlists, you've got all of the Walk and Talks episodes in there, as well as other playlists. You've got our daily messages in there. You've got just a number of playlists on there. And then again, I work to get out an email to many people that are on an email distribution list that I have. And in that email, I say, please feel free to forward this. So, I had drifted, Emily and I were talking, I drifted away from kind of a email approach to communication on a lot of things over the past year or two. But I tell you, email, the health thing is kind of a timing thing with people. And just because they don't necessarily actively engage right away when you first talk with them, if they get on an email distribution list where they can catch a regular occurrence of, these walk and talk Zooms and so forth, and the subsequent YouTube link, I tell you, make no mistake, it's having an influence on them. So feel free to share that out. I'll get that all put together ASAP. Till next time, next Saturday, same time, same place, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom. We'll sign off for now. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great Saturday. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great Saturday.
Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.
See you later.